Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Always exciting to be back.
So today we're going to be looking at marketing psychology.
Ooh, that's a fun one.
Yeah, I mean, it's all around us, right?
Right.
We see it every day. But we're going to kind of get a behind-the-scenes look today with this great article we found with a bunch of real-world examples. So we
Cool.
can see how these tactics actually work in real life.
Yeah, I think people often feel like they're being manipulated by marketing, but actually a lot of it is just really understanding how people think.
Yeah, and how we make decisions.
Yeah.
Not necessarily trying to, trick people.
Right. It's just about understanding how our brains work and using that knowledge to create more effective marketing campaigns.
Yeah, so it's all about influence, I guess,
Yeah,
but in a hopefully positive way.
exactly.
So where do we even begin with this?
Well, one of the fundamental principles of marketing psychology is the idea of heuristics.
Heuristics?
Yeah, these are basically mental shortcuts that our brains use to make decisions more quickly and efficiently. And marketers have figured out how to tap into these heuristics to influence our buying behavior.
So like we're predictable.
To a certain extent, yes, our brains are wired to look for patterns and make quick judgments based on limited information.
And marketers are using that to their advantage. So
Exactly.
it's like a game of chess almost.
Kind of, yeah. It's about understanding the rules of the game and using them to your advantage.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all works.
And one of the most common heuristics that marketers use is the buy one, get one free offer.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Right. We see that and we immediately think, great deal. But it's actually a very calculated tactic playing on our inherent desire to get more for our money.
Even if we don't need two of the product.
Exactly. We often end up buying more than we intended just because we feel like we're getting a bargain.
So that's how they get, yeah.
Pretty much.
Okay, so heuristics, mental shortcuts.
Right.
What else is there?
Well, another important principle is the commitment and consistency bias. And this is the idea that people are more likely to do something if they've already committed to it in some small way.
Like if I tell myself I'm going to go to the gym every day, even if I don't really believe it.
Exactly. Or if you sign up for a free trial of a service,
Okay.
you're more likely to become a paying customer later on because you've already invested some time and effort.
Interesting.
And marketers use this bias all the time.
Oh, so.
Well, think about those lead nurture funnels you see online.
Okay.
They start by offering you something small, like a free ebook or a webinar.
Right.
And then once you've opted in, they gradually escalate the commitment by asking for more information or offering you more valuable content.
So you're more likely to say yes to the next thing because you've already said yes to the first thing.
Exactly. It's all about building a relationship and gradually increasing the level of commitment.
That's pretty sneaky.
Well, it can be, but it can also be used in a positive way.
Like how?
Well, for example, let's say you're trying to get people to donate to a charity. You could start by asking them to sign a petition or share a post on social media.
And then once they've done that,
You're more likely to get them to make a donation because they've already shown some level of support.
interesting. So it's like a step-by-step process.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all ties together.
And another great example of the commitment and consistency bias is the way Yelp gets you to write reviews.
Oh, yeah.
You spend all this time crafting the perfect review, describing the ambiance, the food, the service in detail.
And then what?
And then just when you're about to hit submit, they ask you to create an account.
Right. And you're already so invested in sharing your review that you're more likely to go through with it.
Exactly. It's brilliant, really.
It's kind of sneaky, though.
Well, yeah, but it's also effective.
True. So what other biases are we susceptible to?
Well, there's the anchoring bias.
Hey, tell me about that one.
Well, this is the idea that the first piece of information we see, the anchor, has a disproportionate influence on our subsequent judgments. So, for example, if you're shopping for a new TV and you see a model that's priced at $1,000,
Okay.
that price becomes the anchor in your mind.
Yeah.
And even if you end up buying a different model that's only $500, you'll still perceive it as a good deal because it's half the price of the anchor.
So even though $500 might still be a lot of money for a TV.
Right. But because of the anchor, it seems like a bargain.
So it's all relative.
Exactly.
Wow. So marketers are really playing with our minds here.
Well, they're not playing with our minds. They're just understanding how they work.
Okay, fair enough. So anchoring bias.
Right.
What other tactics should we be aware of?
Well, there's the paradox of choice.
Wicla.
This is the idea that too many options can actually lead to decision paralysis.
Like when you go to the grocery store and there are like 20 different kinds of cereal?
Exactly. You end up spending so much time trying to decide that you either give up or make a decision that you're not really happy
Well,
with.
yeah, I've definitely been there.
And this is why a lot of companies are now simplifying their product lines and offering fewer choices.
Makes sense.
Because they've realized that too much choice can actually be a bad thing.
Interesting.
And there's a famous study about this where researchers set up a jam tasting booth at a grocery store.
Okay.
One day they offered 24 different flavors of jam, and another day they offered only 6.
And what happened?
Well, when there were 24 flavors, people were more likely to stop and try the jam, but they were much less likely to actually buy any.
Oh, wow.
But when there were only 6 flavors, people were less likely to stop and try the jam, but they were much more likely to buy it.
So less is more.
Exactly.
I'm definitely starting to rethink my shopping habits now.
Yeah.
What else should I be rethinking?
Well, we've got to talk about social proof.
Ah, yes, the power of the crowd.
Exactly. We're social creatures, and we're naturally inclined to follow the lead of others.
Like if I see a restaurant with a long line out the door, I'm more likely to want to try it.
Exactly. Or if you see a product with hundreds of positive reviews online, you're more likely to buy it.
Makes sense.
And marketers use social proof all the time.
How so?
Well, they might showcase testimonials from satisfied customers or highlight the number of people who have already bought a product.
Oh, yeah, I see that all the time.
Right. And it's very effective because it taps into our innate desire to conform and make the right decision.
So they're using our own psychology against us.
In a way, yes.
This is fascinating, but also kind of scary.
Well, it doesn't have to be scary.
Okay.
Just be aware of it.
Right. Be an informed consumer.
Exactly.
This has been really eye-opening.
It's just the beginning.
Yeah, we've only just scratched the surface of marketing psychology here.
There's so much more to explore.
Well, I guess we'll have to save that for another deep dive.
Sounds good to me.
But for now, thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Okay, so we're back, and I'm still thinking about all those psychological tactics we talked about.
Yeah, it's amazing how much our brains are influenced by things we're not even aware of.
It's like a whole secret world.
Right, and the more we understand about it, the better equipped we are to make informed decisions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what else can we decode?
Well, let's talk about the power of color.
Color.
Yeah, different colors evoke different emotions and associations.
Oh yeah, like blue is supposed to be calming.
Right, and it's often associated with trust and reliability, which is why a lot of banks and financial institutions use it in their branding.
Makes sense.
And red is often associated with excitement and urgency, which is why it's often used for sales promotions and calls to action.
Oh yeah, I see that all the time.
Right, and then you have green, which is often associated with nature and growth.
So it's not just about aesthetics, it's about psychology.
Exactly. Choosing the right color palette can have a big impact on how people perceive your brand.
Okay, I'm definitely going to be paying more attention to color from now on.
Good.
So what else is there?
Well, let's talk about the power of storytelling.
Oh, I love stories.
Me too. And so do most people.
So how does that apply to marketing?
Well, stories are a great way to connect with people on an emotional level.
Okay.
They can help us understand complex information, they can make us feel something, and they can stay with us long after we've heard them.
So instead of just listing facts and features.
Right. You tell a story that people can relate to.
That makes sense.
And a lot of brands are using storytelling very effectively these days.
Like how?
Well, think about those commercials that tell a heartwarming story about a family or a community.
Okay.
They're not really selling a product, they're selling an emotion.
And it works.
It does, because people buy into the story and then they buy into the brand.
So it's not just about logic, it's about emotion.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together.
But,
Storytelling color? What else?
well, let's talk about scarcity marketing.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right, this is the idea that people are more likely to buy something if they think it's in limited supply.
Oh, yeah. I've definitely fallen for that before.
Like those limited time offer promotions.
Yes, and those products that are advertised as selling out fast.
Exactly. It creates a sense of urgency and makes people feel like they need to act now or they'll miss out.
And it works.
It does, because it taps into our fear of missing out.
So it's like a psychological game.
Kind of, yeah. It's about creating a sense of scarcity, even if it's artificial.
Wow. So marketers are really good at playing with our emotions.
Well, they're good at understanding them.
Okay, fair enough. So scarcity marketing.
Right.
What other tactics should we be aware of?
Well, let's talk about framing.
Flaming.
Yeah, this is the idea that the way information is presented can influence how we perceive it.
Okay.
So, for example, let's say you're selling a new yogurt.
Right.
You could frame it as 90% fat-free,
Right?
or you could frame it as 10% fat.
Well, those are both true.
Exactly, but they create very different perceptions in the mind of the consumer.
The first one sounds healthier,
Right, even though it's the same product.
so it's all about how you spin it.
Exactly.
Wow, so marketers are really good at manipulating our perceptions.
Well, they're good at influencing them.
Okay, fair enough. So framing,
Right.
what else?
Well, let's talk about loss aversion.
What's that?
This is the idea that people are more motivated by the fear of losing something than they are by the prospect of gaining something.
Interesting.
So, for example, let's say you're trying to get people to sign up for a gym membership.
Okay.
You could frame it as get in shape for summer,
Right.
or you could frame it as don't let your summer body slip away.
Oh, I see. The second one is more negative.
Right. But it's also more effective
Why is that?
because it taps into our fear of losing something we already have.
Like our summer body.
Exactly.
So it's all about playing with our emotions.
In a way, yes.
Okay.